Hey guys, in this video I'm going to do a review of the Wolverine MTW system. The MTW stands for Modular Training Weapon. It's not really modular, it's just one fancy way of saying the gun actually comes with different stocks and different barrel lengths. The stocks being you have the normal M4 stock like this one here, or you can have the CO2 cartridge in tank in the buffer, or the huge 13cc tanks in there. The handguard, this one was a 10-inch version. You have longer ones, but this is not what this review is going to be mostly about. Ignore the handguard. This is not the original handguard. This is a aftermarket handguard that is made of carbon fiber. Same goes for the outer barrel. Now there are something that the MTW system does stand out. It has a very unique extruded up receiver. So you don't really have the forward assist, you don't have the shell deflector, and you don't have the dust cover. The forward assist, some of the rifles already doesn't have it. The SR15, SR25, they already don't have it. That doesn't matter. I like the design of it. It's modern, sleek, very angular. It does have empty mag detection when it's used with their magazines. So this lever here goes up when there's no BB inside. And the magazines are okay priced, they're not expensive. I think it comes down to probably 15 euros each. Now this is the MTW is greatly advertised as a system for DMR builds because they say it's super aligned between the engine and hop-up chamber, which is true. I will go there in a moment. So I chose the Reaper because I already knew the Inferno system, and there really isn't anything that stands out in it. The lower is forged then CNC machined. You have markings here because you also have the ambidextrous version, but you can't really get it in Europe at this moment. Wolverine doesn't sell custom built MTWs to Europe, and from retailers you can only order standard ones. This is standard electronics, not waterproof, with the Reaper inside. You do have the Wolverine engravings. The selector switch is plastic, but the inside seems to be steel. I'm fine with both. The trigger is the trigger pull is short and relatively tough, so it's good for fast semi follow-ups, even though the engine doesn't really have any capability to do it. And you have the electronic that come with the gun, doesn't really allow you to make any adjustments. But then again, this is a Reaper version, so it's kind of in the Reaper you have a fixed volume system. I will go there in a moment about how it works. It didn't come with batteries even, and I didn't have any HP battery available, so I soldered this, and I'm using a AP battery. The board without the engine closed is kind of wobbly. It moves when I pull the trigger, which doesn't really inspire any confidence in the longevity of the board. The there is no support material. It's just the thickness of the board itself that supports everything. The contacts for the solenoid and the detection switch for the empty mag feature. Much better this way. It is CNC finished, so it's forged. It should be forged then CNC finished. You can see milling marks, yes, on the receiver and everything. It's really good receiver set. To that being said, it outside wise, it actually feels like it's worth the money. There's a lot of machining and parts fits well. There's tiny bit of wobble between upper and lower, but out of all the airsoft rifle systems, this is probably the one that depends the least on the rigidity of upper and lower. It's like a HPA version of the PTW when it opens up. Okay, now move to the upper. So this is your connect for the engine. Here's the engine, here's the hole-pop chamber. Since it is extrusion, the dimensions can be made very precise. And I must say, when everything is assembled, it's extremely rigid. Nothing moves and nothing wobbles. There is like, the hole-pop chamber is actually two pieces. You have this piece here, is actually not part of the hole-pop chamber. It's a clamp that goes around it, then gets clamped into the outer barrel. Very clever design, leaves everything absolutely rigid. It is spring tensioned on the hole-pop chamber, but it's the distance are matched very well, so it wouldn't move at all. The engine is basically just clamped by this plastic piece, but since it's extrusion, they managed to match the diameter really well, and I cannot perceive any type of movement on it. So it is a very good base. Except this is like you have the chassis of Formula 1 car, but the engine is it's a Fiat Punto. And I will go to why is that. Actually, my current plan was if I'm able to put, let's say, a Polarstar F2 engineered, something that is two dual solenoid design. Wolverine takes pride in the simplicity and their one solenoid design, but just as the Inferno, the Reaper has same problems that the single solenoid engine has. That is, your nozzle is not controlled. Your nozzle is kind of synchronized with the firing. So in case of Inferno, you just have the air supply stopped by the solenoid, and when you open the solenoid, the air goes forward and pushes the nozzle forward. It loads the BB and fires. The problem with that is the nozzle moves with a certain pressure. So before that, you would have a low pressure air slowly going out before the nozzle fully closes on the bucking. And you also will have the nozzle closing before all the air have left the system for the shot. But is it perceivable for a regular rifle? You would not. As any HPA system, it's always more air than AG. But honestly, a single solenoid system, the nozzle timing is worse than AG, given that AG is tuned at least and built correctly. Because the AG actually will move the nozzle in a controlled way by the target plate compared to the air release. So a correct AG should have a nozzle loaded the BB, sealed, then the piston compresses the air by moving forwards. In case of the single solenoid engine systems, your nozzle bit just depends on that. It's just how you use the air. You either push the nozzle forward, or like the case of the Reaper, it pushes the nozzle back. And that is actually maybe worse than pushing it forward, because at least pushing it forward, you can seal the nozzle off before a certain point for the pressure to build up and not leak. So you push forward and majority air will go out, and it only start retracting after pressure is quite low and BB is very likely have left barrel. In case the Reaper, how it works, you reverse that action. So the air naturally going through the solenoid goes to the reservoir, which is the front section. And when you activate the solenoid, the valve changes direction. Instead of going supply to reservoir, it goes to reservoir to the barrel. Your nozzle is normally kept forward, and it's kept forward by a spring, but also by the pressure in your reservoir. The reservoir actually actively pushes the nozzle forward. However, when this action happens, the air from the nozzle is basically kind of a piston that has air on both sides. So when the pressure on the reservoir drops below a certain point, the air from the other side of the piston will push it back. That's how the nozzle retracts. And that also means before your reservoir is completely empty, you can actually calculate that by open up your engine and check the different diameters on the nozzle, and you can calculate at what pressure point will the nozzle lose the balance and start moving back. So that means once the reservoir starts dropping pressure, the nozzle will go back. It's kind of similar to the Inferno, but in this case, you would have pressure. You have a lot less air. Your air is very limited. It's in this tiny reservoir. Wolverine, all the HP engines, they are limited the power by the pressure the engine can handle, the solenoid can handle, and that's generally between 8 to 10 bar. And since this is a fixed volume system, that means you can't go with a too long barrel and your power is very limited. You can't go with extra heavy BBs and you can't reach really a DMR power. I'm using beyond the pressure that is meant to be, but it's still sealed, it's not leaking. And I'm struggling to reach 2 joules with 0.36, which is quite low. For AEG, that's not hard to reach such powers. With the Inferno, at least you can keep the valve really open for very long, have a longer barrel, so the BB can have time to accelerate, even though the pressure is not really there, but at least you have volume. Apart from that, I picked indeed the shortest version, the 10-inch. I'm using a 303mm barrel. Apart from that, the FPS actually is very consistent so far. It does come with a maple leaf bucking, even though it comes with a regular tubular nub. Now, another issue I had is, since this one here, what pushes your nozzle forward is a little bit of pressure and a little bit of spring. It's not the raw pushing power of the Inferno by having the pressure behind it. They made the area difference on the nozzle quite small to diminish the effect of pressure in reservoir being low and the nozzle moves back too fast. Actually, it would be somewhat immediate move if the area is anywhere big. Your pressure just shift the whole thing. So the area is small, so to return the nozzle is also a struggle. I have had so many misfeeds with this gun. It's just cannot be filled. I would not trust it to go to a field. I would say every 1 in 5, between 1 to 5 shots, one BBs would just not load properly and roll out of the barrel. And I am using their own magazines. I'm not using any other magazine. This is a combo that is supposed to work. Accuracy wise, when it works, is really good. The FPS variation when it loads properly is 0.1, 0.2 variation, which is also very good, but it just loads terribly. The Inferno would be more straightforward. You lose the whole close bolt thing, but honestly, this close bolt is not worth it. It's not really a close bolt. A close bolt, you're supposed to complete the firing sequence before having nozzle movement like the Polarstar, but this is not. The Polarstar fusion engine is a lot better than this. It uses more air than it needed to, but you do have a separate control on the nozzle, so you can actually time the nozzle different from firing sequence. And this one, you're just, no matter what you do, you're dependent on it. So to cap it off, I really like some concept this gun has. I like the extruded upper receiver. The lower is made really well. The magazine just goes in, not snug, but it doesn't wobble neither. It doesn't drop free, but it's not tight, and it doesn't wobble. I love the machining, the precision of the machining and everything. And this is also hard anodized, which is very hard to scratch. I like the concept of the upper, really. The way everything is aligned, it really provides a good base for something spectacular. But this is simply an engine that doesn't deliver, and I don't think any Wolverine engine really would take advantage of this system. As I said, this thing, if it has something like a Polarstar dual solenoid setup in it, it would be amazing. But the way it is right now, it's like you got a really good chassis, but a crappy engine in it. This gun cost me, I think, 700 euros shipped. So it's not cheap, it's on the expensive end. And given the fitting issues, no, I would not advise it. I was expecting it to at least perform properly with the power it can deliver, because if this thing actually, you can get to shoot 1.5 quite comfortably. It is quiet, and it's simple, it feels good construction, might actually work. But if you consider this gun plus a tank, you're looking at close to $1,000 for something that doesn't even shoot properly, and without any possibility of upgrade regarding the power output or rate of fire. So this is a very mediocre AEG performance for the price of a high-end AEG, without the possibility of internal upgrades. Externals, you can do all the GBB parts on the grip and stock. This is like a PTW or GBBR type receiver. Same goes the front, take AEG barrel and bucking. You could do that, but the engine simply just doesn't deliver. So if you are thinking of buying this, I would say go for a pre-built Polarstar. That would be delivering better. If you get the Inferno, expect a pretty good AEG. Pretty good in a sense that is not custom built, but out of the box. Out of the box, I would say the accuracy is consistent, and the accuracy comes part of the whole pop design, the alignment, and also the maple leaf bucking. It does help a lot. Also, the inside gun was very clean. It's one of the few guns that I opened that doesn't have any kind of grease inside the barrel or around the bucking area. It's very clean, so that also contributes to the out of the box performance. But this is the end. You get this and you don't have any option to upgrade on the inside. So is it worth it? If you have a lot of guns already own HPA stuff and you have money spare, yes, it's a very cool gun, even just to take a look at how it works and how it's constructed. But if you're looking for something that works, something that worth the money, something like a workhorse, no, stay away from it. Okay, thanks for watching.